Today I'm going to talk about my secret struggle with stuff, kind of the dark side of living in a small space, and talking about what probably you never see in the most tiny house or travel trailer RV videos, the nightmare that goes on when you live in a very small space. My name is Jill. This is Jill's Nomad Survival. We'll see you on the other side. So I just wanted to talk about this in an honest way for two reasons. One, it's something I've thought a lot about, and I'm titling this Simplicity in Small Spaces and My Secret Struggle with Stuff. But the reality is I, number one, didn't do it right, and if I could go back, I would do it a different way. I'll tell you that in just a moment. But also, I'm moving into the next phase. I can't really start working on this trailer until I get everything sorted and out, and I haven't really done that. I'm sure you've noticed when you have a space that you continue to fill it up. What I did is I bought a lot of these bins and just started pulling stuff out of the old trailer just to give me some room in there. So it's something I struggle with. So that is this video. And there's a couple reasons. One is my brain is not wired for boring and mundane things. I am good in a crisis. I like excitement. I like to go big or go bold. The day-to-day stuff, that is a huge struggle for me. And that's kind of that ADHD brain wiring that people struggle with. Other people are really good at organizing. Other people are really good at long-term planning. So we all have our strengths and weaknesses. This is one of mine. And it probably takes me 6 months to do something that someone else could do in about 15 minutes. So this is a big issue for me. I don't talk about it very often because I'm frustrated, and I know all the little tiny tricks out there. I've read books. I did it as a profession for a while. I mean, I really learned a lot, but the reality is that it's just a weakness for me. Stuff, organization, simplicity, all things I love in principle, but things I really struggle with. So if I had to do it over again, the first thing I would do, and this is what my plan is here, is to live in this space with nothing and see what you actually bring in. One of the things we do in our society is we problem solve by buying a new thing. We buy a product to get ourselves out of whatever situation. And so what this has really taught me is, one, I don't need very much, and two, once I learned principle over product, it was allowed me to let go of even more stuff. So like I said, if I had to do it over again, I will only move in what I need. What I've learned is that I didn't touch most of my stuff in my house, so I got rid of 95% of it. When I left to move and not travel. So I had a very different mindset. Unless you're only temporarily going to be in this situation, or this is a part-time home, is very different than full-time home travel versus full-time living until you transition back into a larger home. So that was my original plan. Obviously, I changed my mind. I am still struggling. One of the reasons I wanted a bigger space is I want more space, because I'm kind of at the point where there isn't anything I want to let go of, which is one of the problems. I've gotten down to those core things that have an emotional attachment for me, or I need those or want those to live. So this is a big problem for me. The next big thing that I have really taken hold to, and I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or what, but I am really preferring manual over electronic or automated. And so, instead of an automatic hammer gun, I'd rather use the hammer. Instead of an electric can opener or toaster, I would rather just toast it in the frying pan or use one of those little ones. So this is a transition that I'm making because I actually enjoy doing the manual labor. My experience has been that it costs less, it breaks less often, and when it does break, I can fix it. And it takes up less space. So I have really made this switch in my mind and in my practice to actually doing stuff simply and manually as a multiple reasons, money, time, space, all those things. So for me, the simplicity of doing it hands-on has really worked out for me. Which leads me to the last point I just talked about, how we've tried to consume our way out of almost every single problem, and that is a mindset. And so all the things that I've learned in this lifestyle about living more simply is how much I don't need, how much we have moved from the general to the specific, how there's so much that we can't do. And so I really enjoyed and embraced this process, but that has not gotten me over this hump. What do I do with my stuff? So that's really the last piece of this is, when you're going through your stuff, it's really important to find a way to make peace with your decisions. And one of those things is, can I buy it if I need it versus is this something that's irreplaceable? And so it's hard because, not having a lot of money, not knowing if we're going to have electricity, I've been hesitant to let certain things go, but I'm having to shift out of that. And the other issue I want to talk about around that is how different life is in this version. I've had to shift how I am with clothing. Remember when you bought something because you liked it because it was cute? You washed your clothes immediately after you wore them once, and you had an outfit for all kinds of different occasions. That doesn't happen anymore. So I really switched to trying to find function. I've taken to wearing men's clothes because they're more functional than women's clothes. They have better range of motion. They last longer. I had taboos about I didn't want to wear thrift store clothing. Now, for $1, I can wear a shirt or buy a pair of pants, and I don't get upset if it gets ruined because it always does. So there's been some big shifts, about how long I'll go without washing clothes. I remember seeing a guy in Alaska. They went all winter, 8 months, without washing their clothing. I don't go quite that long, but I have set some pretty interesting records as we go here. Also, the fashion, looking cute, that kind of thing, that's been very difficult to have to let go of dressing in a way that I felt reflected my personality, because you can't do that in the poop and the dirt and the wind. So it's been a shifting in terms of who I am and what kinds of things I hold on to. The two other areas that were really hard for me were my books. I've had hundreds and hundreds of books, so I let go a lot of them. Some of these crates are my books because they were in my new place I would live. So one of my projects in the next few days is to go back through my books, suck it up, let it go. The other really hard part I had was my kitchen. I'd come to a point in my own collecting where I had a really nice array of kitchen utensils, pots, things like that. I don't use hardly any of that anymore. I usually just cook in the cast iron frying pan with a knife. And so every once in a while I'll do something a little bit more with some variety. But those are the two areas that have been the hardest for me. I also have a personal preference for coats, boots, and hats, which you've seen a little bit of here. Those take up a lot of space. So those are the things, they're good leather boots that I've had a lot of trouble letting go of. So I just wanted to do a little update on this because this is one of the next projects I'm moving into. It is a little secret. I think a lot of people struggle with their stuff. And when you go into some of these RVs and trailers, it is amazing how packed with crap they are. But it's hard. Sometimes you use a tool once a year. It's hard to not take that with you. So it's really difficult. I have zero good answers for you, but I did want to talk about it because it's real. It's part of this living small experience, having to move stuff every single time you want to do anything, whether it's clean or sit down or whatever. So as much as I love simplicity and I love having less stuff, it is not something that I've mastered. In my perfect fantasy world, I would live in one of those Japanese homes where there's nothing but like a little table in the middle, but I am not there yet. So that's a little bit from us here out in the middle of nowhere. I'm going to end. I'm calming down now from some of the excitement, how we used to end. So I'm going to say thank you for taking this time with me. We're going to go one more deep breath for the road as I hope you will rise with the sun in your eyes, love in your heart, feet firmly on the ground. 3 secrets to health as together we walk on Survival Road. Live free, die wild, my friend, and we'll see you next time.